hygiene hypothesis states that without the introduction of bacteria in the early stages of life, the immune system is deprived of its natural development. Have you ever thought that maybe we're too clean? Like, for example, the show Monk, the guy who's like really a germaphobe, like he can't take the idea of them being on him and he's seriously clean. And then there's one episode he gets really sick and he's trying to figure out how. Or maybe the fact that now 80% of us stay inside most of the time than we ever have in history. This is what the hygiene hypothesis is talking about. The hygiene hypothesis was introduced by Dr. David Strachan in 1989. He was studying his brothers and sisters and the effect on hay fever in his older siblings as opposed to his younger siblings. The hygiene hypothesis is a new field that studies the use of viruses, probiotics, and bacteria and to see how they interact with the body. The hygiene hypothesis also looks at pathogen products that are created into drugs and are more likely to grow and to help other people. They create immunomodulators, which are the vaccines and other medications that help regulate and to normalize the immune system. Infectious molecules are taken from sources like viruses, bacteria, parasites, and even marine sponges. They have been used to study with respect into how they react with the immune system and how they are reacting to. T cells help to remember the things that infect our body, like both the good and the bad. So if we continue to clean and disinfect everything, then what will the T cells help to remember? Also, T cells, they help to keep anti-inflammatory, keep the lungs anti-inflammatory in diseases such as asthma. So, hearing all this, do you think that being too clean is a really good thing?
When it comes to thinking about parasites in regards to the hygiene hypothesis, we have to change our thinking towards that. Because when we think of parasites, we have a negative thought that parasites are just these bad things that cause disease and all these other things. However, when we bring it towards this, we have to think of it as parasites in regards to bacteria helping us. How can bacteria help us? Well, in a many number of ways. You see, if we try to get rid of so much bacteria, our body's immune system has nothing to fight against. If our body's immune system has nothing to fight against, then what happens when we do have a disease or outside agent coming towards us? There's nothing to base its information off of. That's where the importance of parasites come in regards to hygiene hypothesis. The parasite is the bacteria that comes inside your body, invades your body, and your body is the host. And the bacteria feeds off of nutrients that your body provides. And afterwards, once your immune system learns how to fight this parasite, then we will become stronger. But like I said before, if we're scrubbing away all these different germs, trying to be germ-free with Germ-X and Clorox and all these different things, how is that going to help our body? It's not. A prime example of that I like to think is with the movie Star Wars. Now, the Jedis, they were kind of thinking about the dark side and how bad the dark side could be if someone joins the dark side and vice versa. And we see in little Anakin Skywalker, who ends up becoming Darth Vader, the dark side ends up invading his body, taking over it. However, with his son Luke, the dark side is still kind of in him, but Luke learned how to change with that. Luke learned how to grow with the dark side in him and using the powers from the dark side to allow him to do great things. It's the same way with parasites and bacteria. If we use the bacteria to help us, instead of trying to get rid of it, we end up producing something better for our immune system and for mankind.
Mr. Timothy Mason, today I will be discussing with you how the method of cesarean section relates to the hygiene hypothesis. From the earlier presentations, we know the hygiene hypothesis states that the lack of exposure to infectious agents from microorganisms and parasites increase the susceptibility to allergic disease by suppressing the natural development of the human immune system. This means that a sterile environment doesn't provide the necessary amount of exposure to germs needed to help our immune system develop and fight off infectious diseases. therefore increasing the chance of developing things like allergies and asthma. One thing all humans can relate to is birth. There are two methods of childbirth. The natural rate is vaginally, in which the birth of offspring comes from female's vagina. The second mode of childbirth is cesarean section. This is a medical procedure in which the doctor makes an incision through the mother's abdomen and uterus to deliver the baby. In the past 20 years, cesarean section has increased drastically. For most women, medical complications were the main reason that cesarean sections were performed. The mother is at greater risk for major infection, organ damage, and blood clots due to this medical operation. Babies born through cesarean section have a different composition of microorganisms called flora. In their bodies, those delivered through vaginal delivery, flora microorganisms are friendly microbes that help the regulation of the body's immune system. There is a higher incidence of asthma, allergies in children via C-section. It is highly likely that the difference in flora composition is the cause. Jordan McKinney would be the perfect example due to the fact that he was born by C-section and has allergies and asthma. Christian Cole Johnson, a chairwoman of the Health Science Department at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, evaluated more than 1,200 babies born through C-section at the ages of between 1 and 6 months, and years 1 to 2 years old. Her research found that by age 2, these babies were 5 times more likely to have allergies than those babies born naturally when exposed to a high level of common household allergies such as dust mites. Mrs. Johnson states that her findings further advanced the hygiene hypothesis that early childhood exposure to microorganisms affect the immune system's development and onset of allergies. She also quotes that we believe a baby's exposure to bacteria in the birth canal is a major influence on their immune system.
All right. So now that you've heard so much about the hygiene hypothesis and the power of parasites and what they do in your body, immediately after being assigned this topic, doing my research, I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea. I thought it'd just be a boring old presentation I had to do about something I did not care about. I just did it for a grade. But after learning more and more about what the hygiene hypothesis is, I realized it was talking about me. Like it made so much sense as to what happens in my life. Like immediately I thought about how when I was growing up, I was always shielded from different things because like my mother was very overprotective. My mom did not, especially as a baby, she didn't let people touch me. So, and then there was always a bottle of hand sanitizer wherever we went. So then I'm thinking like maybe my body didn't get a chance to be exposed and be a proper host to those parasites that I might have gotten from other human contact as well as other germs in the air or around me. And my body was denied that opportunity. So now I have asthma. I was in the hospital all the time as a kid because this breathing condition, always sick because of this. And I'm thinking maybe this explains why I was always sick as a child instead of other people how they have more higher immune systems. I was always sick. When I was growing up, I was sick at least 1 week every market period. The whole week gone sick, and that's why the hygiene hypothesis made sense. It made sense as to why I was the way I was. I was too clean. So maybe we should start thinking about, yeah, it's okay to be clean, but maybe we should have limitations on that cleanliness. Like maybe we should just, okay, it's gonna happen. A germ's gonna get me. Like I can't avoid. It's like avoiding the inevitable. Stop doing that. Like let it go. It's gonna happen. Just accept it. So I think as people coming into this in the 21st century, we just need to be more mindful of that because we need those germs. Yes, the word germs, we think about it, is terrible, but we need them. We need them to live. We need them because we're just, at the end of the day, we're gonna hurt ourselves. So.